Hi, my name is Emma Witmer, and I am the Arts and Culture Editor for Gulfshore Life magazine. Today, we are at Naples Art Institute with Executive Director and Chief Curator Frank Verpoorten for New Ways of Seeing American Modernism from a Private Collection. Frank, would you tell us a little bit about the exhibit before we take a walk through?
Thanks, Emma. We're really proud of the show. I really think it offers an unusual discovery for visitors in town, and I encourage everyone to come and see it. I became first aware of the collection and was introduced to the collectors 2 years ago. My friend Viviana Dominguez, who I've known since I moved to Naples in 2013, is an art conservator out of Miami who does quite a lot of work for private collectors and museums in the Southwest Florida area as well. So 2 years ago, Viviana was working on restoring this particular painting, which the collectors inadvertently had ripped. He found Viviana, who is a masterful conservator, and she made an awesome repair. And Viviana has performed work on all sorts of nature on different works in the collection. And one day she texted me and said, "Hey, by the way, do you know this collection?" Fuller Potter is the name of the artist. He's a lesser known American abstractionist, like the likes of Jackson Pollock or Lee Krasner. And I just find this very striking. People are often intimidated by abstract artworks or certainly something like this very vivid and expressionistic painting. And really, all it is raw energy and emotion on a canvas. In this particular corner, I wanted to draw attention to the important influence of Atelier 17. European artists that emigrated to New York often documented in letters to their loved ones back home or to their parents or whatever fellow colleagues that one thing that they missed so much was the culture and the life of the outdoor terraces that existed all over Paris and in Montmartre. And in New York, none of that existed. And so instead they would dive into they would go into bars or into these workshops where they would talk and share ideas and so on. So it really gave this experimental atelier gave birth to so many different styles. And that is why I often say, we like to say that the European avant-garde influenced the American avant-garde. But for instance, it is in New York that Miro discovered the work of Jackson Pollock. And then he comes back and paints in a more Jackson Pollock-esque way. So it really is not as simple as saying the Europeans influenced the Americans. It was a little bit more complex than that.
And we were speaking earlier about this idea of what people know of American art, or modern American art, I should say, and then what has been kind of uncovered through this exhibit. Because we were talking about how really where people know of modern American art is that 1945 era, right? When people are kind of easing into their own style, abstract expressionism kind of beginning to take a hold.
Right.
But this collection primarily, or at least primarily, is kind of set before that, the precursors, the lesser known.
Paris remained the art capital of the world. I think that the story of American modernism of the first half of the 20th century is largely forgotten still and has been discredited. Now a lot has been done to restore interest in that. Famously, the Whitney Museum a few years ago. It's a fascinating story, and the more I've learned about it too, it's really about when the avant-garde of Europe mingled really with the avant-garde of the United States. And that happened obviously over the course of the two world wars and the immigration of so many intellectuals and writers and artists to New York City and other places in the United States. And then this obviously became the wall where I wanted to group the various examples of regionalism. The most renowned of the regionalist painters was Thomas Hart Benton, and we have no work of Benton in the show, but he is the subject of this composition by his friend Joseph Forst.
And I think it's such an incredible version of what you were saying just a minute ago, where we often talk about with modern American art, the European influence, but this is in many ways the reverse of that. This is the American artist influencing the European, with Joseph Forst coming over from Germany, moving to this rural area, taking up a studio with Thomas Hart Benton, and then really adopting his style in many ways. You mentioned the Whitney Museum show, and we're standing here with Irene's piece, and I remember when I was looking into the show, I had talked to the collectors about it a bit, and they had put out an acknowledgement, I believe, just that in the past there had not been a strong recognition of female modern American artists, and that's kind of beginning to move in a different direction. People are doing their homework, they're finding the pieces, they're doing dedicated shows, but it is still, those aren't the names we tend to know beyond Georgia O'Keeffe,
I'm so glad you point that out.
No, it's an important point. And one of my favorite things about this collection is it's really, probably at least 50% of what I've seen is female artists.
No, there is. And, the collectors point out that, a lot of the artists featured in this exhibition happen to be students of more renowned artists, but sometimes their work is on par with that of the teachers or even better. And there is an enormous reappreciation here of all these female artists.
So when people come to visit and experience this collection, what is it that you hope they take away from the show?
I hope there's a moment of pleasant discovery. Like, I was not sure that I was, very well acquainted with this art or with this period. I hope that visitors will appreciate, we are a teaching museum and art school, and we put a lot of effort into interpretive materials. And, it may be a lot of text to take in, but we wanted to tell the story of these artists in a short biography, and also point out their relevance or the particular relevance of the work that is shown. And I hope it's just a pleasant surprise.